there we already have some fallers in the mud. Looks like one of the Italians has gone down. Yes, and one of the French athletes as well. Well, this is a very, very quick start to this race. They're trying to get to one of the sharp corners about 800 metres into this race.
Yes, and so they all want to get a good position so they haven't got to work too hard around this turn, which is coming up fairly quickly. It's quite tight, and then they turn straight towards the water.
Battocletti had a run out here 2 weeks ago at the Guanda Loop. She finished 11th on that occasion, but I think she's learnt quite a lot from her experiences. Oh, and there's a big, well, slipping over. I think that took down about 3 people there, including Potter. O'Brien managed to avoid that. Oh no, I think it was Healy who went down there.
I think so, and I think Quirk also. Quirk got up very quickly. He perhaps not.
I think that's evidence of the slippy conditions. Let's look at it again. Yes, it was Healy who slipped, took down Quirk. And the Turkish runner goes down as well. So Battocletti now really working hard. About 600-700 metres still to go. Jasmine Lau, Insi Kalkan of Turkey. That's the 1-2-3 at the moment. Turkish supporters alongside giving Kalkan big cheers. Delia Sklarbas getting right up there. Now you can see all of them starting to work hard as Lau takes the lead. And huge cheers around the course. Well, the Dutch have never won a junior women's, under-20 women's gold medal. Jasmine Lau now really starting to stretch it out. 4th last year and the leading athlete from the Samarin race to come back to Tilburg. Battocletti was 1 place behind her last year. It's looking at this stage as though they're both going to move up onto the podium. Kalkan and Sklarbas tracking them. Now a bit of daylight between the leading pair and the Turk and the Swiss runner. And just listen to those roars from the Dutch crowd, urging on Jasmine Lau. So they're coming into the final turn now. But Battocletti's gone past. Suddenly, Jasmine Lau looks starting to struggle, and Delia Sklarbas coming from a long way back now. Now that they can see the finish line coming into sight. It's Nadia Battocletti from Italy, Delia Sklarbas from Switzerland. Lau suddenly starting to look very, very tired. About 160 metres into the home straight now. Battocletti can feel the gold medal almost being hung around her neck. Maria Battocletti from Italy takes the first gold medal here in Tilburg. Followed home by Delia Sklarbas, Insi Kalkan, and Jasmine Lau just misses out. 4th again for the Dutch runner. 13:46 over this 4,300 metre course. 5th last year, Nadia Battocletti takes the gold medal for Italy. And now the emotion of being a European champion starts to ebb through Nadia Battocletti. Deserved winner for Italy. On your mark.
And just another word on the course. These junior women are starting with 2 short laps of 500 metres, and I'm nervous about this. It's tight turns. They're really not going to spread out much by the time they're negotiating some really tough turns. So I really am going to be holding my breath around some of these corners and hoping they can all get through unscathed.
So now Machado looking as though she's actually making a bit of a move here and surging. She's grimacing. Battocletti covering it. Sklarbas now clearly starting to struggle a little bit. Duda having come through what appeared to be a slightly bad patch. He's alongside Lucan. Nothing really to choose between the first four, but Sklábas starting to drop back. Dudák, I don't think Dudák likes the hills, but on the flats and on the downhills, she seems to be picking up the pace a lot. Dudák just slipping back. Sklábas now clearly starting to drift out of contention. Machado has clearly wound that up over the course of the last few hundred meters, but Battocletti covering everything. Battocletti looking as though she really is not going to give up that gold medal without a big fight. Machado, terrific win though, only 19 years of age, and she beat a whole host of top African athletes at one of the top Spanish cross-country meetings last month.
No, this looks like a really deliberate move for me from Machado. Like she's trying to empty everyone's tank at the top of this hill, and then it's who can hold their legs on the downhill. And I think it's a smart tactic, because you've got to drop some of these other girls. You don't want to bring someone like Sklábas into a sprint finish, not with a 2:01 800-meter PB. You don't want to be contending that on the home straight. You want to burn them off before you get there.
Well, it just crossed my mind earlier in the race. I mean, Sklábas is a super talented athlete, that goes without saying. But I was just thinking, this is not going to be the course for her because of the things that we talked about in terms of the mountain running. She, as far as I'm aware, prefers much flatter courses. And Tilburg was a flat course. There wasn't much undulation there last year when she got the silver medal. Yes, it was sticky underfoot and it was heavy going underfoot. But I've got the feeling that hills aren't her forte. As we look now, well, Dudák now quite a bit of distance starting to appear between Dudák and the leading three. And it's Battocletti now, having just worked her way around Machado now. So Battocletti, probably about just over 500 metres of running still to go. That was a very deliberate move from Machado, and it's got it. It's certainly separated her from the people behind her, but it's now Battocletti. Father, of course, Giuliano Battocletti. He was a European junior medalist back in the 90s and competed internationally for Italy. Finished, I think, as high as in the top 20 at one of the world crosses back in, I think, the early 2000s. So now Battocletti she's seen her opportunity and moved to the front. And Machado, well, she definitely, the wheels have come off just a little bit. Lucan has edged round her.
But you'd hope Machado's effort there has run herself into an individual medal, which is tremendous for her home championships.
It looks as though it's going to be the case. We saw that, although Aslihan came through very strongly in the final 500 metres. So they're now just starting to come down the hill at the far end of this park, and then they'll turn into the home straight. There you can see the main area, which includes the start and finish areas, and it's Battocletti now. She's about 150 metres away from the line, so Nadia Battocletti looks as though she's on her way to retaining her SPAR European cross-country title. Nadia Battocletti is going to win for Italy. Nadia Battocletti takes gold here in Lisbon. Silver goes to Lucan of Slovenia. And then a long way back, but getting the cheers. It's going to be Mariana Machado, the first medal for Portugal in an individual race here in Lisbon. So, I mean, Battocletti clearly thrives on the country. She was a bit of a surprise 12 months ago. I mean, she had some domestic credentials, but she certainly, I think, was not considered to be probably one of the gold medal contenders, but now she's really consolidated her reputation as a out-and-out cross-country runner who's definitely got some track pedigree as well.
The women's under 23 6,000 metre race. 59 of them set off down that hill here in Fingal, Dublin. And no surprise to see Nadia Battocletti in that blue of Italy in the centre, and Sarah Healy towards the front already. And I guess if you're Nadia Battocletti, Hannah, are you going to push this from the outset and stamp your class? Or are you going to, like you said, she was probably downplaying her fitness. Are you going to perhaps just wait it out and maybe make a move later in the race?
It'd be interesting, because her victory in Lisbon, which was emphatic and so entertaining to watch, it wasn't that dominant. It was her, Lucan and Machado, really, until, if you remember, the steep downhill in Lisbon. They were all running together, and then it was only in the last sort of 800 that Battocletti pulled away from the rest of the field. But she's moved on so much in the last 2 years. She says she's only at 70 to 80% fitness. Some of her early season cross-country form would suggest otherwise. But we'll see. Sometimes you want to stay out of trouble. Sometimes you don't want to get caught up in the field with these tight turns. Sometimes maybe you want the record-winning victory, something like that, the biggest margin anyone's ever won by. But we'll have to see. They've got 4 1500-metre laps, and Battocletti in the driving seat at the moment. You talked in that men's race about the attitude of the field to Charles Hicks as the favourite. That's going to be even stronger in this women's under-23 race. They are all going to be looking at Nadia Battocletti. And to be honest, they have to be running for silver here.
The Italians are just getting greedy at this point, aren't they? I mean, how much more do you want in 2021? You've won the Euro Football Championship, you've won the Olympic 100 metres, you've won the relay, you've won the Eurovision, and you might be winning a European under-23 title. But a scary moment there you'll have seen for Nadia Battocletti. She just got a little trip, and that's the danger of hanging around against athletes, you know, in a big pack going around these turns. Your race could be ended in an instant, and athletes in this mud will be wearing good spikes. But a huge roar goes up as Sarah Healy comes through, but man on trap now starting to apply pressure. She's using the old horse racing trick there. It might be a wider line running around the longer line, but it's drier ground. We see Nadia Battocletti there just clipping legs with Mariana Machado, but thankfully didn't come to harm and is still very much in this gold medal race as man on trap starts to turn the screw out front.
That will have shaken Nadia Battocletti a bit. For me, that's like when you're running heats at a championships and you're trying to conserve energy. Something like that happens, you think, I'm done, I'm gone. I might have expected Nadia Battocletti to put a move in there, but man on trap had the same idea, and she's pushing on now. You've mentioned her half marathon strength. They've just got 2 kilometres left, and man on trap has gone. This will be her kick. As a road specialist and endurance specialist, she will want to get this race moving now. You can see the other women, they're going to respond to this move slowly. They will cover that move, but man on trap has really laid down the gauntlet in this last lap.
Is Nadia Battocletti in trouble? That's the big question. We hyped her up so much, but she said herself she played down her chances, maybe 70 or 80% fitness. She did run well in Spain a couple of weeks ago at the Cross de Atapuerca. She was 12th against some serious international senior opposition over there, but Nadia Battocletti, on paper, she's so far ahead of this field, but medals are not won on paper. And right now it looks like Nadia Battocletti, it's very hard to tell from facial expressions, but she looks like she's certainly working hard there back in 4th position. And I think if she was at her peak fitness, we would not be seeing her this far back at this point in the race. We should have seen her stamp her supremacy earlier than this, so maybe she's just hanging on, and I'm sure every metre that goes by, man on trap out front, Sarah Healy in second, Clara Lucan in third, will be absolutely ballooning in confidence that they're still in the gold medal hunt at this point in the race as we come down to the final kilometre.
Team standings there, you can see Italy in the lead, from France, from Great Britain, but man on trap for me, she's swinging left, maybe looking for that firmer ground. But for the first time, Clara Lucan, she's getting involved. She's pushing on that pace. We've seen her sit behind Nadia Battocletti, but Clara Lucan perhaps realising the threat might not come from the Italian Battocletti, and she needs to look at the rest of this field as well. She grits her teeth. It's a small rise out of that technical section. They'll have a few more twists and turns, but really then it is going to be fast, flat, simple running on the way home. Not simple if you're tired for 5 kilometres across country, but simple in terms of technical and tactics and positioning.
Absolutely, and Clara Lucan is definitely shifting through the gears here at the front. She is putting the athletes around her under a lot of pressure. She made the Olympics this year, which was a fantastic achievement, but the Slovenian was very disappointed after she dropped out of the 5k in oppressive heat in Tokyo. She said her body felt heavy and she was just stretched to capacity mentally, and said she just started to feel completely empty and couldn't deal with the pain. But she is coping superbly with the pain of cross country here in Fingal, Dublin today. And as she rounds this turn up the hill, Nadia Battocletti on her shoulder, it looks like this will be the gold medal race now between the 2 big athletes we had picked out on paper that it might come down to. Nadia Battocletti, she's won 2 under-20 titles. She was overwhelming favourite for gold at under-23 levels. We see Sarah Healy trying her best to hang on back in 5th to Mariana Machado and man on trap, but looks to be fading a little at the moment, and it looks like Battocletti versus Lucan perhaps for the gold.
Man on trap looks right on her limit. She's working so hard to stay in that bronze medal position, but could we see a repeat of Lisbon? Mariana Machado can get into that bronze medal position. We might have the same 3 medalists, but it is Lucan and Battocletti fighting it out at the front. I felt Lucan missed the move from Battocletti in Lisbon. She's not done that today here in Fingal, Dublin. She made that move, and it was asked Nadia Battocletti to go with her, and she has. And Nadia Battocletti, for the first time, looks like she's making a bid for that gold medal.
She certainly does. She's a third-year student at university in construction engineering, specialising in architecture, and she is certainly building herself one fine career in distance running at the moment. 2 European under-20 titles, and it looks like Nadia Battocletti, the brilliant Italian, is on her way to gold here. She is just stretching out ahead of Clara Lucan. Mariana Machado coming up and challenging Trapp for that bronze medal, but around the final turn, it is Italy's Nadia Battocletti who has struck for gold here. It is a commanding performance from the Italian. We perhaps expected her to move a little earlier in the race. She didn't. She kept her powder dry until the finish, until the last lap. But class is permanent, and Nadia Battocletti has buckets of it. It looks like Machado's going to win that battle for silver, but Lucan and her are going to dust up for that. Trapp is back and forth. Sarah Healy with a good run in fifth, but it's not going to be an Irish medal here in 2021, the year of Italy for sport. It looks like Nadia Battocletti is on her way to another memorable victory here. She's done it twice at under-20 level. She'll be a fantastic senior in the years to come, but right now it's about the under-23 race, and brilliant Battocletti wins it. Clara Lucan comes through for the silver, wins that battle for silver ahead of Mariana Machado. Man on Trapp, a brilliant run from the French woman back in fourth. Sarah Healy gave it absolutely everything, but just didn't have enough to get amongst those medals today. She'll be back in the future.
Nadia Battocletti enough energy to pick up her teammate. A fantastic sixth place there for Anna Arnaldo of Italy.
That was an exciting finish, Anna.
That really was. And perhaps now we can believe Nadia Battocletti when she says, I am only 70-80% fit. That she had to work for that. That was not a procession. That was not an exhibition. Nadia Battocletti had to dig hard to convert herself from a junior to an under-23 medalist.
Nadia Battocletti, if she couldn't cross the line first today, that will be her fourth consecutive gold medal at European cross-country level.
So 2 away, then a group of 3 pursuing. Battocletti and Megan Keith here, beginning to widen that gap on Sarah Healy. And I'd like to see Megan Keith here just test Battocletti. I know I said it a few minutes ago, but I don't want Battocletti to be given undue respect if her fitness is suspect, and there's only one way of finding that out.
And is that the end of 2 long laps? So halfway through in this under-23 women's race, and that second lap has just blown the field apart. Apologies, they're not quite finished this second lap. I did think, before looking at this race, that if it went how I expected, it'd be Megan Keith pushing on, Nadia Battocletti the only one that could live with her, and then we'd see what happens through the latter stages. But it's halfway through, and already for me the 2 pre-event favourites toe for toe. The defending champion Nadia Battocletti of Italy trying to take a home gold here in Italy. Megan Keith, last year's under-20 champion, leaping up into this older age group and looking very much at home.
This is the decisive lap now. They go through, locked together. There's not much let up. I think because they've been swapping the leads so regularly, that indicates they're both pushing hard, Hannah, and that's why the gap behind them has widened up.
It's almost like Nadia Battocletti swung wide on that bend. It's like a track race. Megan Keith seemed determined to get herself back towards the lead. We can see Alex Millard, Grace Carson have pushed themselves ahead of Manon Trapp. She was struggling up that hill. It's a really good run as well from Amina Matoug of Netherlands. She was 21st as a junior last year, has taken herself over to that American collegiate system we were mentioning, 28th at NCAs. So Amina Matoug looks like one to try and stake a claim to that bronze medal as well. It's very, very competitive in that chasing pack.
Well, there's less than 10 athletes within 30 seconds of these two. That's how much they've turned it on. Look at the gap behind them there to the pack, probably 100 metres down as they negotiate this bend for the final time. They're heading out on this last lap, and Battocletti has the bull by the horns. I just get the feeling she's psychologically, as much as visually, as from what we can see there, wrestling control from Megan Keith, who I'm not sure if she's hanging on, but the Brit is 2 or 3 metres down now. Is that gap going to widen? This hill for the final time will be very important.
It will be really showing. I think Nadia Battocletti won the race up the hill on the previous lap. She did push through the flat section, and then Megan Keith managed to get back on terms on the downhill. But if it was going to come down to a sprint finish, you'd have to look at Nadia Battocletti. She's got that track speed, 14:46, 7th at the Olympic Games in 2021. And I think we can start to see what could be a definitive gap opening up. Megan Keith just starting to grind it out a tiny bit. As she looks over her shoulder, she'll see some great performances from her teammates.
Well, the team standings after 3 laps: Great Britain, Italy and France, Spain in 4th, Germany in 5th. Great Britain outstanding with the lead they've got, but outstanding at the moment is Battocletti, Hannah, because that is now becoming a decisive gap. She's really turned the screw over this last 100 metres or so, where they take this little dog leg and then head into the hill. That 10-metre gap could well be decisive. Well, she is the real deal, isn't she, Nadia Battocletti? And to be fair, she is so supreme by going by a championship racing record. Maybe at 90% fitness, she's still better than the 14:46, her 5,000-metre best. Megan Keith has run 15:53. I mean, she's over a minute slower at 5,000. That is a huge margin. She's got a great engine, as Battocletti. She moves. She moves well. She's got a lovely, relaxed style, and she's opened up 60 metres over the last 90 seconds. I mean, that is a huge gap. Brilliant running from Megan Keith now, who surely has secured a medal. Looks to be the silver. Let's not count our eggs, chickens before they're hatched, as Battocletti negotiates that awkward little left-hand turn.
Battocletti looking every bit the cross-country specialist, skipping down these hills, but she is gasping for air. She will have put in a humongous effort up that hill to bridge this gap, but it does look like it could be a 4th successive gold medal for Nadia Battocletti. We've already seen a gold medal for the Italians on the mixed relay. That was sensational. It was dramatic. It came down to the closing few metres, but Nadia Battocletti has put on an exhibition round this final circuit, and in the end it's going to be a convincing victory ahead of Great Britain and Northern Ireland's Megan Keith. Nadia Battocletti, hopefully a moment to relax and enjoy, and there's the smile and there's the wave. Big pressure on this young woman's shoulders, and she has delivered here in Piemonte La Mandria Park, a 4th consecutive gold medal for Italy's Nadia Battocletti, and a inspired silver medal from last year's under-20 champion Megan Keith. She gave it everything to live with Nadia Battocletti and couldn't quite handle the strength of the older athlete.
But she'll be in this category for another couple of years, Megan Keith, if she so chooses and doesn't want to do the senior race. Brilliant run from her. She's given everything. Battocletti quite supreme on the day. Another gold medal, 2nd gold for Italy. 13 seconds, that winning margin eventually, Hannah.
I'm really impressed with Nadia Battocletti. She would have had every excuse under the sun not to make the start line today. And that for me is a sign of a true champion, to put yourself on the line when things haven't gone your way in the past few months. She's had major disappointments. I think probably equal measures relieved and happy with that gold medal.